Hello, my name is Reverend Crystal Cox with Goddess Church, Port Townsend. I am a local, obviously local, nonprofit. And I watched something play out on Port Townsend Community's Facebook page, and I feel compelled to set the record straight. Now, I'm not going to name the people that led the charge on this, because I assume that they wanted to do good. So, there is a man on the Port Townsend community page named Michael Allmain. Never knew his name until last night. This is a heads up here. I'm a crier. This is a big deal to me, because it represents a whole lot of different things. I have been homeless in Port Townsend since May of 2014 for various reasons. I've lived in a vehicle in Port Townsend for the last 4 years. Not something I intended to do a video about. However, with everything going on with the homeless, with what's going on at the fairgrounds, with the community's mindset and attitude, wanting to help but yet scared of them, and I've decided that after this video I'm going to do a series of videos sharing with you what it's really like to be homeless in Port Townsend and what's really going on. Okay, because there is a lot of confusion, and I can understand that if you don't live that lifestyle, maybe you don't completely get our point of view, their point of view. So, I'm already starting. So, on the Port Townsend community page, about sometime in the last week, there was a few people, particularly one or two women, who I thought they were really cool people. I thought they were really cool, you know, like hippies or like metaphysical stuff. I'm really into, you know, my church is all faith. I'm into just loving people and helping people, whoever and however and wherever I can. And I just thought they seemed like really cool people. And they started talking about this dog that they'd found. And, oh my gosh, we gotta help the dog, and the dog's injured, and all these issues with the dog, and like the owners treated the dog bad, and they were so excited to get the dog, and they kept kind of fighting for the dog and slamming the owner. And I recognized the dog, and I was like, that can't be. Like, this can't be, right? I just turned 50. This guy? This dog? I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. Like, what? Yeah, he's a little mangy dog. That happens, especially when, you know, you don't have the luxury of a home, or you don't have the luxury of, you know, running water, maybe money for a vet. Okay, so it happens. So you help people. You try not to hurt people. And I know you may not like the Port Townsend homeless people. You may not get it. You may not want to help. You may not be able to help us. But don't hurt us, okay? Don't hurt us. Now, taking a homeless person, and I don't know if Michael's homeless right now today. I don't know that. I've never spoke to the man. Don't know him. I don't know him in a way of speaking to him. But I know him in a different way. And I'll tell you that in a minute here. So, I watched these people like gang up on this guy, and I'm like, that can't be that guy. Like, I didn't know his name, but I thought, is it that guy? And so I watched it play out, and they were so relieved once they'd finally got the dog and got the dog help. Okay, so get the dog to a vet, get the dog help, but keep the dog and slam the guy. And apparently maybe there's some sort of criminal case, which I intend to get a hold of the police and file an affidavit in the case and set the record straight. Because all of these people ganging up like a pack of wolves after an injured animal in the woods, I mean, you know, and they do it in the name of righteousness, in the name of, I'm helping the animals. People laying in the streets, they're not really doing much to help them. They feel good about helping animals. And I'm not saying don't help animals, but I'm saying, if you're helping an animal that's with a homeless person, don't take it away from them. Help them together. Why in the world, right? Have you ever been homeless? Have you ever lived in a car? Your world is that car. That dog is his mother, daughter, child, God, friend. I don't know the man again. I don't know what he thinks, and I don't know what he would even say about this. I just now messaged him to get his case number because I intend to make a statement on his behalf. I am disappointed in the people that went after his dog to help him and not take the owner with it. Clearly, the guy wasn't abusing the dog, right? So they looked at the dog and they're like, okay, well, this dog's being abused. So, make sure my camera's on. So we're going to help the dog. We're going to make sure that the dog has the vets and needs, and then we're going to blame the owner, whatever the dog's got, right? And then they said something about it being a young dog. I highly doubt that. The discussion of the age of the dog, I mean, if a vet says so, then it's true, I guess, by the teeth or whatever, but I don't think it's a young dog, in my personal experience. So anyway, okay, so how do I know this man? Okay, so I was surprised in watching this play out and the people saying that how bad the guy is to the dog and how they're going to save the day, right? Even though people, like last winter, froze to death in a tent in Fort Townsend. Why? Because they had a dog and they couldn't take the dog to the shelter. And don't even get me started on the shelter in Ole Cap. Helping people. Helping people. Okay, I will do a series of videos about that. This is not something I was ever going to do videos on. I like to focus on, you create your own reality and focus your thoughts and you know, all of the things I do videos on, and I pray with people every day, and I do healings on people every day, and that I teach people every day to be their highest and best self. The main goal of my church is to raise the consciousness of Mother Earth and her people, and to help people wherever I can. If this would have been any person in the entire world, I wouldn't have been doing this video because I wouldn't have no first-hand knowledge. Right? I wouldn't know for sure. I'd be like, well, you know, he's a little sketchy, and you know those homeless people, you know, they're all like whacked, right? Because people seem to think that homeless people are, oh my God, right? They're this one genre. Why are they homeless? They're too stupid. They don't like jobs. They're too lazy. They're too, right? They're on drugs. They're drunk, right? But here's the thing. Homeless people are people. Each person different. Each person with a different background. Each person with a different reason for being homeless. Each person with a different relationship to God and themselves and each other and their community and their family. The reason most people think people are homeless is not the reason that we're homeless. Okay? Every homeless person is homeless for a different reason. We're all unique individuals. And are there homeless people that are drunks and addicts? You betcha. But in Port Townsend in general, I've met more that lived in houses that were heroin addicts, drunks, drunk driving, prescription drugs, whatever. You don't need a house to be an addict. So I'm just clearing that up. Anyway, you're probably wishing I'd get to the main story here, right? The video will probably run out. I wouldn't even get there. But we can't have you crying through the whole story, so we got to branch out a little bit. So, okay, so I'm watching it play out and I'm thinking, is it that guy? Because they didn't say a picture of the guy. There was no guy, you know, they just talked about the things. Oh, that's timely, right? They're coming for me. No, I'm just kidding. The Port Townsend police, I'm going to talk a lot about them and the homeless issues. Yes, I've digressed again. The Port Townsend police, I've did investigative blogging for decades. The police, the way people treat people, corruption and oppression, and you know, I'm really into exposing all that. And let me tell you, the Port Townsend police and how they deal with the homeless that I've witnessed has been amazing, and has been good, and I think that the community dictates that, and so that's wonderful, and I'm going to talk a lot about that. But the times in the beginning of my living in a car in Port Townsend, like 4 or 5 years ago, the police would move me on here and there, and they said, well, you know, they tell me different places and things I could do, give me options. Very nice to me. They said they move people in the vehicles, or they basically roust people in the middle of the night when the owners of the property or nearby houses or businesses complain. And they'd complained about me in a car because I guess they didn't like that, right? So I was really weird when it was up. Sometimes, you know, up by Chetzemoka Park, at this time there was a whole bunch of signs that said no Muslim ban, and you know, help everybody. They wanted to like bring in the immigrants and help all these people, and they have yard signs that are do-gooders. But when there's I'm not old, but I'm not young, living in a vehicle anywhere near the house, they're like, oh my God, get rid of them, man, get rid of them, right? So they're not really do-gooders. They're phony and fake, okay? And they're afraid of people who live in cars. So if they really saw how some of these immigrants lived, they may not approve. And they may be like, hey, there's one of those people living in the car. oh, wait a minute, they're an immigrant, so it's okay. And believe me, I'm pro-immigrants, I'm pro-no Muslim ban, I'm definitely for all that. I'm just not for hypocrisy. And there's a lot of it in Port Townsend. There's a lot of let's save the dog and kick the person to the curb. Let's bring the dog in out of the cold, and let's make laws for that. But let's let the people freeze to death in the tent, okay? And the woman who froze to death in the tent was a local, right? Now, if you want to have a drink to stay warm, you can't, they don't want you to wake up, which isn't the issue there, believe me. I mean, the shelter won't even go there. But the woman who froze to death, I think she had a dog, so they wouldn't let her in the shelter, right? Anyway, do you wish I'd get back to the main story? I know, so do I, right? It's probably going to run out. It's probably not even taping anymore. Oh, it is. All right. So, I guess if you're still here, you want to hear the rest of the story. I don't really do investigative blogging anymore. It's focused on my spiritual work. But when there's something to be made noise about, I am the queen of making noise. I have a big old free speech case and that I won to give free speech rights to every blogger and every citizen journal out there. And I'll tell you what, I am not going to be real quiet on this issue now. Because this one dog. So, I'm watching the Port Townsend community page. They're talking about the dog, and this is great. They want to help this dog, whatever. And I'm like, all right, good, they're helping this dog. And I see the dog, and I'm like, that dog? Okay, so I recognize the dog. I'm not going to tell you exact details of where to park and stuff, because and I've never spoke to him, because when people live in cars, you don't talk to other people in cars, okay? It's just a basic safety thing. We don't, like, get chummy. And I'm not speaking for everybody who lives in a car. I'm only speaking for myself, okay? So, this man, I noticed him probably 4 years ago. I don't know the exact timing, but I'm going to say many, many years ago. And he had a small truck with a canopy on the back. And he was living in it, and so I would see him on the circuit. You see other people who live in cars on the circuit in being homeless in a vehicle in Port Townsend, okay? I don't want to burst any bubbles out there, but this is how it works. And in this one area that I park, there usually on and off there's nobody, or maybe one or two people or whatever, but you get to know them. And you don't get to know them talking, but you know their routines, you know when they come and go, you know what they do, you know what they do outside their car, for reasons of safety, but also because it's right next to you, it plays out in front of you. So, I noticed that this man, first of all, he had a really cool truck, right? And he carved these really neat things, and sometimes he'd try to sell them outside of it, and he'd tinker with his vehicle. It was always breaking down, right? And he'd always be tinkering with it, so I'd hear him out there. And I remember thinking, well, wow, you know, that'd be cool, right? Because at the time, in the beginning, I was in a small truck in Port Townsend. Hard to live in the front of a small truck, right? And his truck was way smaller, and he's taller than me. And he's got a canopy on the back, right? So I'm like, what? That'd be neat to have that, right? But he's not sleeping in it, right? It's there. I could see sometimes that there was a bed back there, but this tall man is sleeping behind the wheel uncomfortably. So his dog can have a full bed in the back of the car. I'm sorry. I did not mean to cry in this video. And I remember thinking, would I do that? Like, would I sit slumped over in a tiny... I mean, I had a Ford 150, you know? And the Ford Rangers are smaller than that. This was smaller than that, right? And he's got a canopy with a bed. And he slept in the front while the dog slept in the back. He got the dog out. I seen him get the dog out all the time. So, years. He feeding the dog, watering the dog, walking the dog, loving the dog, talking to the dog, teaching the dog. Best friends with the dog. Okay? People didn't notice him. They didn't give him the time of the day. Now that dog, with whatever this, oh my God, disease is that the guy neglected, okay? People at Port Townsend saw that guy and that dog every day for years and years downtown. He lived downtown. He lived in a vehicle. I saw him. Did you see him? Maybe not, because most people in Port Townsend look down. You know, you can't look at the homeless. Remember Julie? She's 5 years downtown, sleeping on a table. People walk by, nobody does a damn thing. They just run out of the bathrooms. Oh, you can't be in the bathroom. So who'd want to be in a heated place when it's freezing out? Nope. But your dog can come in here, okay? Let's call the police. Anyway, I digress. So I witnessed this man, more than anyone in my entire life, love and treat his dog with more respect than himself. He begged for food in front of Safeway, for money, for his dog. Okay? People gave him food for his dog. I never seen him speak word to anybody. I never seen him, he was never mean to me, never give me a dirty look. I never felt afraid of him. I didn't talk to him because I'm not going to talk to a man that lives in a car near me. When you live in a car, homeless as a woman in Port Townsend or really anywhere. It's just the protocol. But I saw it out my window every day for years. This man and this dog. This man did not neglect his dog. This man gave his dog every comfort and every food and everything before himself. And this pack of wolves people come in and attack and save the dog. We'll be damned about the man, right? Who cares? Who cares why it happened? Who cares if the dog, it really does have a medical emergency and you want to help him? Oh, great. Bless you people. But don't take away his best friend. Don't take away his family. Don't hurt us. You don't have to help us. You don't have to like us. But don't take the dog. I don't have a dog. I don't really love dogs. I'm not a dog person, but I'll tell you what. When you live in a car, the one thing or the things that you do have become everything, right? And I know so many people who love their dogs, think of them as family, that live in houses, right? Imagine living in a car for years, losing everything, right? Heartbreak, whatever. He said online something about leaving a toxic relationship, doing the right thing, right? The dog becomes more than a dog. And you know you love your dog and your dog's family. But it's every fucking thing. Everything. Okay? But you don't care why. You don't care all the circumstances. You're like, that dog needs help and that man is bad. Okay, you get the police, you get everybody involved. And what? Because he either don't have money, and I don't know if he's still homeless, but if he doesn't have the money to fight, or what, you're going to take the homeless people's dog because you know they don't have the money, you're not going to help the person, you're just going to help the dog. And so that's the solution. Well, that dog has safety. Well, wherever that dog is, I guarantee it's miserable. Because that man and that dog were close. I saw him feed him, I saw him water him, I saw him walk him, I saw him pick up his poop. Ugh, not a dog person. And I saw him every night for years. Let that dog have a bed while a 6-foot man or whatever tall he is, I think he's taller than me, crumpled up in the front seat of a car, sat sitting up. So the dog could be comfortable and be warm. And you people took his dog. I tell you, I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to send you love and I'm going to send you light. But I am also a spiritual warrior. And I'm not going to stand by and pretend that you're right for doing it. And I'm not going to name you. I saw the people, I saw it play out in Port Townsend community. I'm not going to name any people, okay? I really am going to come from the place of love that I know that you took this guy's dog and got it help because you love animals and you want to help animals, and that's beautiful. But don't hurt us. Help the dog and get him back with his dad, with his best friend, who in many ways sacrificed his life for the dog. No one else? The man would have probably, as he said something about being suicidal different times, didn't have to get up and feed that dog every day. Maybe he wouldn't even be here. I know many people who live in houses who tell me if they didn't have a dog, they'd be dead. Okay? Now, this is not necessarily a COVID thing or everybody's depressed or all this. No, I've been since 2014, so I'm headed towards 6 years of this, seeing what goes on with Port Townsend homeless, how the police work, how OLECAP work, how the navigator works. Ugh, don't even get me started on that. Okay? So I know this man and this dog, never met him, didn't know his name till last night, but I've seen him hundreds, if not thousands of times. I can at least say hundreds of times with his dog and making his dog comfortable and feeding and nurturing and walking and playing with and training his dog. every day for years, outside of my car window, every frickin' night, every frickin' morning. I saw it. The people that attacked him and took his dog, and by attack I mean that judge him, that think he's bad, that think he neglected and abused the dog without even talking to him or understanding the circumstances. Those folks, I kind of lost my train of thought. It's understandable to want to help dogs. It's a beautiful thing. It's understandable to want to bring the dogs in out of the cold. I wish you wanted to do that with the people. But if you don't, you don't. And I get it, maybe you're afraid of people. You bring them in, they're going to be what? Because all those homeless people are, you know, drug addicts, you know, and you never know what they're going to do. You like my character voice? But homeless people are people. We're all individuals. And we all live in cars or tents or walk around the streets for different reasons. And the longer you're homeless, the more it changes. And so I also just want to, again, reiterate that I've seen hundreds of you. Port Townsend, I won't say elite, but people that, you know, work downtown, people in the government, people in the, that have walked by this man 100 times. Not said a frickin' thing to him. Not offered him help. Not offered him dog food. Not did anything at all to help him. But everybody's on the bandwagon to hurt him. To save the dog. Save the dog, and who cares about the man, right? Let me tell you, you all saw him. And I don't know who I'm speaking to out there. I'm not saying everybody has. I'm just saying that over 4 years, I bet thousands of times you've crossed his path. You've seen him, you've seen the dog. But because this one woman or a few women decide that, oh, that dog was at the dog park or somewhere, and he's got this issue, that you're going to then come in and save the day, right? Not factoring in all of this time and all of these years and the fact that all of these people walked by him for years and years. But now, and as he said before the holidays and everything, you take his best friend, you take his dog, and you think the dog was neglected or harmed or hurt. So this video is to set this record straight, Port Townsend. Michael Allmain is a hell of a dog owner. He loves that dog. He treated that dog with more dignity and respect than you could ever know. Have you ever give up your bed for your dog? Probably most people do, right? They move over, they got bed. In your warm house with your bathroom and your all your things, that, you know, your refrigerator and your washer and dryer, all these luxuries of living indoors, right? Maybe you gave the dog a bed, but have you had nothing and been freezing and curled up in a space like this so your dog could have your bed? Have you done that? Have you went to Safeway and begged for money so your dog could eat? Have you done that? Okay. Again, I want to say, you don't have to like us, and you don't have to help us, but don't hurt us, Port Townsend. Get this man his dog back, and leave people alone. Okay, now. Goddess bless you all. I love you, Port Townsend. I love this town. I love the people. I have been treated well. The police are so nice to the homeless, and I'm not talking about the mental issues, the other. I will do videos now about all of that because I have a unique perspective, and I have been homeless, living in a vehicle in Port Townsend for 4 or 5 years, and a couple years before that 2 or 3 in hotels. And my reasons are my own, but we're not all the same. We're all individuals, okay? And this video is to set the record straight about Michael Allmain and his dog. You won't find anyone who loves their dog more. You won't find anyone who protects their dog more. You won't find anyone who is willing to give everything that they have to their dog. If he didn't have enough money to get the dog a vet, help him get a vet. Don't take his dog. I love you, Michael. I don't know you. I've never met you. But I've watched you. You're a good man, and you're good to that dog. And I don't know what happened in your toxic relationship that you left. But I'm glad you left it. And I'll be damned if I'll sit here and know something and not set the record straight. I love you all who are watching this. Goddess bless you. Bye for now.